In 1988, the funeral of Tsun's father is held in a small town. But when the guy approaches the coffin, he sees that instead of a man, there lies a straw effigy. 22 years have passed. Tsun becomes an antiquities researcher, and one day he is ordered to be brought to his place by a rich collector who stole Tsun's girlfriend Lisa. She was forced to say that they were excavating the tomb of an ancient emperor. The guy at this time shows it to the rich man's servant. Lisa explains how the dungeon works, but suddenly a collapse occurs in the dungeon. The girl calls the guy in horror. He suddenly appears from a cloud of dust alive and unharmed, after which he points to a crystal round coffin standing in the middle of the room. The inscription on it means this emperor donated the Sphere of Enlightenment to the god Hades, for which he hoped to receive eternal life. Tsun opens the sarcophagus, but then a huge spider attacks them. The guy enters the fight, but the spider is very strong. Tsun sees the body of a man crawling out of it and remembers the straw effigy that he and his mother put in the coffin. The guy is distracted by Lisa's voice. At the last moment, he manages to take a spear and pierce the body, after which he takes a sphere from his throat. Later, he remembers that his father was excavating relics, but one day he disappeared. He was accused of theft, although his mother did not believe it. Tsun grew up and also began to do excavations. Now he needs to exchange the Sphere of Enlightenment for Lisa. The rich man is very happy to receive the key to the Golden City because, according to legend, the god of the underworld Hades fell on the Golden City, after which the entire ruling dynasty disappeared, and the emperor's contemporaries found eternal life. The rich man has cancer, so he wants to find the city. He recalls that he sponsored excavations carried out by a talented student on the island of Samsara, but he mysteriously disappeared and the excavation stopped. A week ago, an earthquake occurred in this district, after which people fished a golden sarcophagus from the sea. He searched for Sonma for a long time because he believed in God's providence, because his father still passed through the Golden City. While the rich man was telling all this, the sarcophagus opens and a revived mummy emerges. Taking advantage of this, Tsun and Lisa run away and do not notice that the end of the tape is caught in the guy's clothes, so the mummy rushes after their car and gradually unwinds. Eventually, the couple runs into the apartment and hides behind the sofa. But then Lisa points to the end of the bandage, after which they understand why the mummy came for them. The guy brings the policeman to the room, but there are only Lisa and some man sleeping on the sofa. The girl assures that everything is fine with them. She rejoices at her unprecedented luck, because a living mummy is clearly very expensive. The revived guy suddenly sees a calendar and screams in horror, 1990. But then he looks at a photo of little Tsun on the wall and recognizes him as his son. But suddenly Lisa loses strength. Tsun realizes that she was poisoned, and the antidote is only in the Golden City. Sonma promises that he will take them there in a flying ball ship. On the way, he says that once in the city, they were faced with an invasion of mutant spiders. He became entangled in a web and lost consciousness. Lisa talks about the earthquake, after which he was found. But Tsun does not believe that this is his father. He is especially enraged by questions about his mother, and while father and son are sorting things out, an island becomes visible ahead. Tsun, Lisa, and Sonma skydive but land in trees, after which they find themselves surrounded by savages. The guys see the huge cauldrons and decide to pretend to have a seizure. They are immediately left alone, but it turns out that they were scared of Lisa, who came out with a weapon. The savages escape, and the team finds their way to Iron Glade. Suddenly, the road is blocked by a poisonous fog that comes from the cave. The father explains that they need to pretend to be dead and enter the fog. This is the only way they will get into the city. At the bottom, they find a stone gate that opens in front of them. Inside, they are greeted by stone statues of gods. Sonma presses the medallion on the goddess's chest, and the next door is open in front of them. They move on and do not notice that someone is following on their trail. They open the next door with the help of the Sphere of Enlightenment and find themselves in the hall, where there is a statue of the emperor. Lisa recalls that all of his ancestors did not live to be 32 years old. The girl reads the message on the obelisk. One of the emperors was weak, and having met God, gave him his blood, which became a sacrifice. Under each statue, there are special pillars that can be used for the ritual, and if they pour blood on them, the mechanism will work. Sonma cuts his finger, but Tsun makes fun of him and shows him a bottle of instant glue. After he drops it into the altar, the mechanism should start, but nothing happens. Lisa remembers that there were 10 emperors in the dynasty, but there are only 9 statues here. Tsun then pulls out a scanner and finds the missing statue above their heads. He drips glue into the altar, which stands directly under the statue. The passage immediately opens, lifting the sarcophagus. Tsun slides the lid, and everyone sees it as a passage to the underworld. Suddenly, they are attacked by a giant mutant spider. People join the fight. While Lisa takes out a pistol, father and son defeat the monster with cunning. However, after a moment, more monsters begin to fall from above. People think that they are about to die, but then the doors fly off their hinges and the soldiers shoot the monsters. It turns out that it was the rich man who was following them. He laughs at the diggers but suddenly recognizes Sonma, although he is not even aged, but Tsun still does not believe it. The father announces that he will not show the entrance anyway because the rich man wants to desecrate it. But Lisa's life also depends on this decision. Sonma asks to give him 3 cigarettes and places them on the sarcophagus, hoping that the smoke will show the entrance. Sometime later, he points to the wall where the gates of life are about to open. The rich man's people run in the indicated direction. The prisoners escape and manage to jump into the previously discovered passage, and Tsun steals the antidote from the rich man's belt. People fall down a vertical shaft for a long time. Tsun manages to grab onto one of the outgrowths in the wall. People find themselves suspended 8 kilometers above the surface. Suddenly, they see some figures that resemble ghosts. This scares the father so much that he jumps down. Tsun and Liz fall after him. After some time, they fall into a giant water funnel. Then they find themselves in the lake. The team swims through it and ends up on the other side. Here, Tsun gives vent to his anger about why the father left without paying attention to his wife's feelings. He tries to prove that he did not intend to die, but his son does not want to listen to this. They soon find a place overgrown with giant mushrooms. Suddenly, some kind of cocoon tries to attack people, but the guys cut it with knives and find inside the mummy of the professor who led the previous expedition. Sonma understands that all the cocoons surrounding them are his comrades. While the trio is looking around, the rich man's detachment catches up with them again. An angry man points a gun at them. But at this moment, the flowers growing calmly suddenly begin to hunt people, grabbing them with their petals. The military and Lisa are trying to shoot back. Father and son fight back with sticks, but one tentacle grabs Tsun and the girl and drags them somewhere up. Sonma rushes to the rescue and cuts the trunk. The couple falls to the ground, and the rich man grabs his father and takes him away from the dangerous clearing. Lisa wants to save Sonma, but Tsun is against this because he hates his father who abandoned him. But then he finds a notebook that fell out of his hand, where he reads lines of complete longing for his wife and son. Meanwhile, the rich man's remaining people reach the Golden City, located at a depth of 8 miles, and are surprised that everything around is made of pure gold. Sonma remembers how their expedition came here. One of the scientists opened the royal sarcophagus, not noticing the spider that had crept up on them. The guy examines the area strewn with the remains of his friends and remembers how the spider caught them in the net. The overjoyed rich man demands to be shown a way to gain eternal life, but Sonma does not know it. A fight begins between them, in which Tsun and Lisa, who came, intervene. With great difficulty, the father and son win. Tsun even hugs his father because he admitted that he missed a lot and wants to see his grandchildren. Then the guy remembers the girl and suddenly sees her inserting a sphere into the recess she found. And then a hologram appears over the city, which shows the history of the past. Sonma understands that this is a spaceship. The coming of Hades is the arrival of a spaceship that crashed and fell on the Golden City, as a result of which it went underground, destroying the entire civilization. And these golden sarcophagi that Sonma accidentally fell into are alien escape capsules. The guys are trying to stop Lisa, who is starting the revival process. Sonma remembers her tattoo and understands that she is one of the surviving aliens, and with his help wanted to return to the Golden City, and the savages who met them are their descendants. Lisa goes inside the ship when the spider attacks people. He grabs the rich man. Father and son understand that if the ship takes off, everything around will die. They rush into battle. Sonma picks up the machine guns, but cannot handle them. Then Tsun comes forward and thrusts his spear into the spider's mouth. He runs after him, and the guy lures him onto the ship. The spider swings it, preventing the ship from activating. At this time, the father and son entangle the UFO with the ropes they found, dodging the spider, and the monster rushes and crashes into the ship. Then the machine suddenly explodes. Sonma realizes that the city is about to collapse and puts Tsun in a sarcophagus and asks to tell him about his mother. Tsun admits that his mother searched for him for 10 years and then buried him, according to local custom, without a body. Realizing that she would not see her husband again, she died. The guy was very angry with his father because of this. Sonma turns on the escape capsule and Tsun flies away. The father dies from the clutches of a spider. The rescue sarcophagus ends up on the surface of the sea, where sailors find it and pull out Tsun. The guy examines the incomprehensible form and finds out that the year is 2010. He later gives the orb to the sailor who found it. During the examination, the ship's doctor finds neurotoxins in him, so the guy cannot understand what happened in reality and what he dreamed. But he intends to tell the world everything.